Hello world! Did you know that Ayutthaya is home to a unique dessert that has captured the hearts of locals and tourists in Thailand? It is called Roti Sai Mai, or Ayutthaya cotton candy. It is a sweet Thai snack that consists of silky strings of sugar wrapped in a soft thin crepe. Today, along with a local tour guide, Big, we will watch behind the scenes of how this most famous Thai dessert is made.
This is where they make the rotis. Roti for Indian food is more of a staple bread, but roti in Thailand tends to be more of a sweet. So most sweet bready things are called roti. Texturally, it's kind of a cross between a tortilla and a crepe. You can see the mixing back there. Like most dough, the more you play with it, the more the gluten develops, the chewier it gets. So that's why they stretch pizza dough to make it chewy. So you can see they have their mojo going. She'll put a new one down. She'll take the old one off. I could watch this for hours.
I know.
You can see the non-Newtonian physics of the dough is thick enough that she's not actually burning her hand. You take the old one off, put the one on, you'll start bagging. Green comes from pandan, which is a grass that grows in water. It has kind of a creamy aroma, so we primarily use green for desserts. On the weekends, they'll make pink, which is strawberry, yellow, which is banana, purple, which is taro. There's a black one, which is charcoal. Going through that whole bucket.
Looks like twine.
Now we call it Roti Sai Mai. Sai means thread, and Mai is silk. So this is basically like caramel silk thread.
That's so good. Melts in your mouth.
It has a really dark caramelly aftertaste too, right?
Yes.
Cotton candy. Essentially, cotton candy is vaporized sugar. They vaporize it and then they collect it on the stick as it's coming up. This is essentially cold sugar. So, you ever see people making like noodles in my hand? It's the same process. Caramel instead. Back here is where they're mixing the oil and the flour. So the palm oil helps the sugar stretch, and the flour will help it dry out as it's stretching. And that's how you get that very hair-like texture. So he's cooking the caramel, station 1. Station 2, coagulating the caramel in the water. Station 3, they'll mix it with the oil and the flour, and you'll do the stretching. And then while he's doing the stretching, the guy in the back will bag it up. Even though it's mostly air in there, the sugar is still quite dense. Yeah.
This dessert was introduced by Bang Pia, who was a Muslim born in Ayutthaya and earned a living by making desserts.
แต่เริ่มทำก็จาก13 ปีกับไปยันอายุ 17เราก็ดึงไอ้แตงเมเนี่ยดึงเล่นอยู่ทุกวันห่อขายอะไรอยู่ตลอดแล้วอาเขาทำอยู่พอเขาเผลอเราก็มาลองโค้งดึงเล่นดูก็ยังไม่ทำอะไรไม่ได้3 ปีเอามาหัดดึงเล่นที่บ้านลองผิดลองถูกอยู่
Over the years, he has constantly improved his creation and mastered this candy floss dessert.
It's just exponential increase. 16, 32, 64. He'll put a few hundred strands in there just to get the caramel started. Now that it's coagulated, it's hard to stretch. So they're going to heat up the oil to make it easier for the initial stretching. It can get nippy here, like in the low 60s during the winter. So during those times, you may actually have to hold it over the flame just to keep it soft enough to play with it. Right, so now the weight is stretching itself, and then he'll roll it out while his partner heats up the oil. And then he forms the donut. That's the first 2 noodles. So then when this gets hot enough, it'll get a little bit more liquidy. And then he uses the wooden towel so he doesn't actually have to touch the caramel because it's hot. So now that it's nice and warm, it's easy to stretch and then fold. And each time you fold, again, you double them. There's already a few hundred strands embedded in there, right? And that's how you get that very fine thread as it comes out. The pan is measured so that eventually he'll start stretching it to the corners, and that's when he knows he'll stretch. If you don't keep it moving at this point, you're going to get fat, thick caramel strands in there, which you can't do much out of. When it gets to the end, you can only really stretch it like an inch or 2 at a time. So it's just very, very patient working. You can already see it's starting to stiffen up. This whole thing takes about 15 minutes for a loop. So imagine doing this 15 minutes at a time for 8 hours.
Oh my god.
Most countries have some version of this. It probably came more from the Indian subcontinent, and it may have come from there or the Middle East at some point. The texture of caramel, the more you heat it and cool it and heat it and cool it, the thicker it gets. So like when you dip your strawberries in chocolate, that chocolate has been heated and cooled about 3 or 4 times already. Because each time it cools, it presses more air out of the molecules, and it gets denser and denser. If you tried it with normal chocolate syrup, it just drip off, right? It would be too liquidy. So the thing about caramel is that the hotter that you heat it, the harder it gets. So if you keep it around 60 to 80 degrees Celsius, it will stay caramelly. You can drizzle it over your ice cream. Once it hits about 120, you're going to start to make toffee. So once it cools, it will actually kind of be hard and crunchy. Any more than 160 degrees, you'll break your teeth on it. Like it will get super dense. Want to give it a try? Your back starts getting sore immediately. You're like, it will keep stretching for quite a while. You can see how hard that is. So typically the way we eat this is just like making tacos. So you take this stuff and you put it on the roti and you roll it up.
It's like very thin and...
Well, in Bangkok, they're so thin that I do feel like I'm doing surgery. God.
Maybe thin because
I thought it was so funny when Friday came out. Because everybody who didn't smoke weed was like, oh, is that what it's like? And you're like, no. Sweet potato.